Hey folks, this is Rick with Hit and Run Candlesticks. It's midday on Friday, October 14th. Have a couple things I want to talk about. Just thought I'd share it on a YouTube video or some sort of video anyway. All right, let's talk about this. Let's talk about yesterday and talk about today a little bit. Yesterday, toward the end of the day, we laid this red line on here. Those in Hit and Run Candlesticks, remember when we did that? 358. 80, we put that. I even wrote it right in here. So far, that's where we've hung out. Now, I certainly cannot say that we're going to close above that. What I can say is, here's the value of that, okay? Not so much that line. The value of this candle and preceding candles or after candles. If we think of candlesticks in a voting sense, and I love to do this. Last time I talked about this a little bit, I had an awful lot of people, kind of a light bulb went off on it. Don't even worry about price. Don't even think about it as price. Think about it as voting. And since how in the world do you get your head around 147 million shares being traded? Okay? So don't. All you've got to do is say, that's 100 votes. That's all. Just use 100. It's 100 votes. And I would say offhand yesterday that there was 100 votes that voted down because that's where we opened. And there was a few little dedicated bear votes in there that went a little bit lower, but overall, you can see that the vote was by far, the majority by far was to the downside, and it pops up, okay? By the end of the day, I think we could say, using the same voting logic, is the votes were unanimous bringing us up. At least, I mean, if you're voting, if 51% wins, then this was well over 51%. So let's just think about that as votes. So if this is votes, let's take about halfway of this candle. Now, last night, I decided that 358 was going to be my line. Now, I don't believe that's actually halfway. I think halfway is a little bit lower here, but that's the line I chose. So far, we're holding up. So if this was 100 votes, we only have half that pulling it back. We haven't come back down all the way. I'm not trying to paint a bullish picture here. I want to make that very, very clear, okay? This market is still controlled and owned by the sellers. What I want to look at is just reading candlesticks and how we can make sense of the tea leaves, okay? That's what we want to do. So, as long as we hold above that 358.80, and I'm actually going to put another line down here, and let's just use the 1,000 period moving average. Let's add that in there too. So if we could hold in this area, there is a possibility we put in a relief rally popping up. Okay, there is that possibility. Anything below that, oh yeah, short city. And I know there's a lot of people getting short right now. All I'm trying to do is say, for those that want to follow candlesticks anyway, for those that want to follow it, that's what I'm seeing right here, is that we're going to have to take that 100% over here and go at least 51% to the downside. And that would mean getting below the 50% level of this candle. I think right through here, and I'm going to use that 355.70, 355.80, big fat line right there. So let's just see what happens. That's what I'm going to look at. That doesn't mean there's not short charts out there. In fact, I'm going to share a short chart here that we bought earlier this morning. So anyway, just a thought right there. Let's go take a look at the dark chart because we looked at this morning, okay? I'm going to get rid of this. That just kind of boogers things up a little bit. There we go. So this morning I talked about just simply following this chart, and let's start with the daily and work to the hourly. And you can see on the daily, we do not have a bullish turn, not at all, not yet. So if we're going to have a bullish relief rally or a bear relief rally, bear market relief rally, then we'll see this pop up very similar to this. Now in this one, it really didn't go anywhere, although price did move up here. This one here worked out pretty good. We don't have that yet. Now, if we back into the hourly chart, this is what I talked about this morning. If we stay green, then that's going to be a sign that the bulls are still hanging in there. You can see that they're breaking it here. So I'm just trying to show a way to read the market. I hear from a whole lot of people how confusing this market is, and it's not confusing. It's confusing because I'm not sure what everybody's looking at. We are volatile. We are volatile in this market where it's moves ups and moves downs, just up and down, up and down, up and down, and no real big run up. There are larger runs to the downside, yes. So there is that, but the quickness, you get in something, man, you almost have to take profits right away if you're going to the upside, and that's because the market's being controlled by the overall bears, no doubt about that. So if you want to make sense of the market, I think it's a walk in the park, absolute walk in the park. If you want to use this on your 60-minute, you can see how yesterday it gave us that move up, and you can see now how it's giving it back. To defend what little bulls are right here until we break down just by using this chart, and I'm just going to use the red dots and green dots, until we break down whatever that is, 557.80, I think, right through here, then really that uptrend is still working, because what we look for in all charts moving up and all charts moving down, this is non-negotiable. That chart pattern right there, that is trading 101. So here we are. Let's make this yellow, actually. No, let's keep it green. So here we are up, and now we're pulling back. So the big question is, are we going to put together some sort of relief rally further than just what yesterday was? Or are we going to crash down, in which case we could paint this red, and now we can look at that right there. So very easy to determine what this market is doing. And then let's go back to this chart. And then utilizing the price action, the candlesticks. It's crazy sometimes how, and I'm horribly guilty of this. One day it's all about the candlesticks, and the next day it's about something else because the candlesticks aren't giving me what I like. We all do this. But if we force ourselves to come back to what we know works, no matter how unhappy we are with the chart, just follow price action, the candlesticks, and trend, and you know exactly what we're doing here. Absolutely. So, and if here's something else somebody could take, let's move to this chart. We'll stay here. We could look at this and say, all right, based on yesterday's candle, I'm going to make this green. It's bullishness based on candlesticks really is all about the follow through. So until we get follow through to the upside, you don't have confirmation. But if we're going to use candlesticks, you have to use candlesticks. You can't say, well, I'm not going to use candlesticks for this if I'm going to use it for that. You can't be bouncing all over the place. That's just looking for what you already, that's just taking what you want and then looking for something to prove it. When I had young kids, my favorite line would be, well, honey, it would be good for the family. You can curve anything you want If you know the result you want, you can curve anything to get there. You can curve anything. But if we're going to use candlesticks, then we're not bullish until we break out, and we're not bearish until we break down. So for those that are just fighting on what to do, first of all, turn the freaking television off. That's number one. And just follow the charts. There it is right there. All right, let's talk about this chart. Etsy, E-T-S-Y, Etsy. That was popping up on one of our scans. And yeah, that was popping up on one of our scans. Probably this one. There it is right there. And it may have come up on a couple others. Yeah, it may have come up on a couple others. But this is just our trending break of the 50-period moving average, where you have that 50-period moving average moving up. We break down, and we gapped down yesterday, and it looks like we held right below the dotted deuce here. We took the trade here. We're not up a ton right now, 9.25%. I only bought 2 contracts. I've already, before going to lunch, I decided to sell half of it, well, so I could buy lunch. You know, because I was going to be away from my computer for a little bit, so I'll close half of it. Life is good then. So I took a nice little profit on that. Let's see, anyway, took a nice little profit on that. Right now, like I said, 9.25% and or $300, whichever it is. So for those, for the members, if you got the alert and you took the alert, you know, you could, I guess, be there the same thing or close to it. So anyway, that's a little bit on Etsy, a little bit on candlesticks, and a little bit on just following the trend right there. So thank you very much for letting me do this video. Okay, appreciate it.